Hey there folks, so welcome to Spectrum Pulse. We talk about music, movies, art, and culture, and today we're going to be doing something special. We're going to be talking about the new EP from LunchMoney Lewis, titled Bills. I don't tend to cover EPs, and believe it or not, I've got a reason for that. Now, as I've said in the past, I like records that are full-length album statements, mostly because they're the ones that give me a ton of material to really work with in these reviews, and sometimes I don't even get that much. So you slice it down to 4 songs, and I've got even less to talk about. So unless I've got a lot of reasons to believe an EP is just going to be insanely good and blow me out of the water, I tend to hold to this as a fast rule. But today, I'm going to be breaking that rule, because the more publicity I can give to this guy, the better. Now, viewers of Billboard Breakdown probably aren't all that surprised I'm going to be talking about LunchMoney Lewis here, but for those of you who don't watch Billboard Breakdown, and you really should, I put a lot of work into it, he's something of a hip-hop artist from Atlanta and the son of a member of Inner Circle, the Jamaican reggae band that ended up writing the Bad Boys theme, so comes from a good pedigree here. He's been working behind the scenes for a while now, working with Dr. Luke as a producer and songwriter, but now he's striking out for himself, rounding up a couple of songwriters who are affiliated with Dr. Luke for a chance in the spotlight, signed with Kemosabe. And I've got mixed feelings about that. I mean, I've been following the legal nightmare unfolding between Kesha and Dr. Luke as she quietly works to rebrand and rebuild her career after the nightmarish 2014. And considering Becky G's debut album is still nowhere in sight, signing to Kemosabe, Dr. Luke's personal label, to drop a new hit seemed like an extraordinarily bad idea. But his leadoff hit, Bills, convinced me that I need to hear more from LunchMoney Lewis, because that song's amazing. So I found his debut EP and decided to listen through it. Was it worth my time? Well, yes, it was worth my time, because if this was intended to get me hyped up for an upcoming album, it definitely succeeded. But it also revealed some moments that didn't quite work as well as I expected, and showed things that could probably afford to be ironed out before he drops that debut album, things that he can improve. In other words, the Bills EP is pretty damn excellent. It's got a lot of great moments, but there are enough points that make me feel a little uneasy to prevent that 100% endorsement. In other words, it is great, but there are some flaws to it. So let me start with LunchMoney Lewis himself, and the comparison that everybody seems to make between him and CeeLo Green. Mostly because they've got a knack for retro soul leanings, they got some great melodies, and they're very, let's call it, portly gentlemen. But to me, CeeLo's always been able to balance his goofier tendencies with an air of ridiculously slick cool or eccentricity, and LunchMoney Lewis isn't quite playing on that level. Instead, he's aiming for something much closer to one of the most respected and beloved figures in the history of hip-hop. Bismarcky, and the comparison is really a lot stronger. The hip-hop style of both men is drenched in the back-to-basics approach of the Golden Age, and both of them fall more into the role of the hapless, genuinely earnest underdog who's got a bit more of a comedic tone. Yeah, he's a bit of a clown to be sure, but one with enough genuine talent to be appreciated, even if he doesn't exactly have the strongest voice on the radio. And let's make this clear, if we're looking for an area where LunchMoney Lewis handily outstrips the majority of his peers, it's as a producer, because this guy is a real find when it comes to melodic composition and production. Bills is the most obvious example, so one everybody's heard by now. A ridiculously catchy piano melody to anchor the entire track that's got so many little quirks to it that I'm honestly looking forward to learning it when I get a keyboard in front of me. Some squonky sound effects, lightweight clap percussion, hints of organ, and of course that trumpet interlude that's just wonderful. Really loved it. And the attention to detail on this bright, ridiculously fun song translates across the entire EP. Mama takes a very slick, funky, and bubbly bass line, pairs it with a simpler piano flourish, and an organ part that fits surprisingly well with the breezy island feel with the backing vocals. Then you got Love Me Back, take some of the island feel, another bouncy piano line, paired with some very subtle percussion punch, horns, and some glossy synthesizers along the edge, and then we get a key change midway through the song because why the hell not? It's just awesome. Probably the most experimental track on this album is the slick 80s funk of Real Thing, anchored in a great guitar and bass line, ridiculously silly backing vocals that really are the reason this song works at all. I'll come back to this. And even a rattling guitar solo that sounds like it was pulled straight from the smoothest track Ty Segall never made. If I were to criticize anything about the instrumentation, and really it's a stretch because I love the majority of it, it'd probably be that the mix can be a little bit busy on a couple of tracks. It might be a little bit too slick. But beyond that, instrumentally, I can groove to everything on this EP, and it's so much ridiculous fun. Recalling Andre 3000 and Dungeon Family in the best possible ways. Oh, I loved it. But now, we have to get to the lyrics. The spot where if I feel there are mistakes or areas for LunchMoney Lewis to improve, they'd probably be here. Now the big caveat that hangs over the majority of this album lyrically is that LunchMoney Lewis is going for a lighter tone, not really trying to be taken all that seriously. What makes the working class, schlubby nature of Bills so goddamn likable and populist. And Mama would be sort of the sort of ridiculously corny track that would make anybody roll their eyes, including me. Basically like The Perfect Fan by the Backstreet Boys, except even lighter and sillier. But it's so goddamn earnest with enough little little details to it that help you buy the sincerity. I liked it. Where things get a little bit trickier is on the last two tracks. Let Me Back seems to be set from the context of a guy stuck in a loveless relationship, and not quite the friend zone as some people have put forward, but the whole I took you out for dinner and thus I'm entitled to sex attitude, it did rub me a bit the wrong way. Even though LunchMoney Lewis doesn't play the song with any real animosity or bitterness, he's just kind of confused and he's trying so damn hard, it's easy to kind of feel bad for the guy. Even especially considering he does want to leave if things don't improve. That impulse is there. But then we come to Real Thing, and it's a song where LunchMoney Lewis is taking a girlfriend from another guy. The sort of song I normally can't stand. And here's the thing, I'm not quite sure how much of a joke it is. The ridiculous backing vocals and the fact that LunchMoney Lewis is still a hapless romantic in that first verse never really gets explicit on the song. It does help, but still, the pre-chorus of I'm turning your girl to mine, just, it really rubs me the wrong way. It makes the song feel a lot more mercenary with its tone, which is just not a good look for him whatsoever. But you know what? Even with that, I can't deny I enjoy the hell out of this EP, instrumentally if not lyrically on some songs. LunchMoney Lewis is the sort of hip-hop performer who's not afraid to take a lighter tone and actually make fun music that fits within an easy pop framework. And yet there's enough subtle details and flair as a producer to show off a ton of as-of-yet untapped potential here. Compared to the wild exaggeration or bizarre non-sequiturs or just plain outright mean-spirited sniping that often serves as humor in hip-hop these days, LunchMoney Lewis is gunning for everyday populism. It's a great twist. And while I can see moments where he could slip by playing to some of the uglier lyrical trends of today, for the most part, the instrumental framing and style can manage to redeem it. For me, it's an 8 out of 10 and a huge recommendation. Folks, I've been saying this for weeks now because I want Bills to be the big hit of 2015. But this EP, it cements it. You all need to check this out. You won't regret it, trust me. So yeah, thanks a lot for watching. If you'd like to like and subscribe, I'd be more than grateful. If there's anything else I might be able to do to improve my presentation or any other albums coming out that you want me to take a look at, I'd be more than happy to give them a listen. Until then, I'm Mark, you're watching Spectrum Pulse, and I'll see you next time.